Wake up, wake up, wake up. I am your host, Chantel, better known as Miss Recycle, and you are officially on the Wake Up and Smell the Coffee show, y'all. Infinity TV, Infinity News. Let's get it. I told y'all if y'all had a topic that y'all needed for me to cover, let me know, let me know, let me know. And I will cover that topic for you. Listen, yesterday I told you guys that they've been taking down my videos, right? I forgot that they took down the one that about the Incubus and the Succubus, okay? And it's crazy because I mentioned the Incubus and the Succubus yesterday in my video, and y'all will not believe what happened to me last night, okay? Whew. First, okay, y'all, I want y'all to know what an Incubus and a Succubus is, all right? This is very, very, very important because these things, whoo, baby, fierce, just, nasty things, nasty, but they're demons, okay? And they come to you in your sleep. But like I said before, I'm going to let Google read it to you because the fact checkers ain't going to be fact checking me, fact check Google, y'all. And here we go. We're going to get right into it. Because y'all already know what they be doing, okay? But listen, y'all. Listen. Pay attention.
Succubus. Published by Britannica.
Listen.
Incubus. Incubus. Demon in male form that seeks to have sexual intercourse with sleeping women. The corresponding spirit in female form is called a succubus. In medieval Europe, union with an incubus was supposed by some to result in the birth of witches, demons, and deformed human offspring. The legendary magician Merlin was said to have been fathered by an incubus. Parallels exist in many cultures. The word incubus is derived from the Latin incubus, nightmare, and incubare, to lie upon, weigh upon, brood. In modern psychological usage, the term has been applied to the type of nightmare that gives one the feeling of a heavy weight or oppression on the chest and stomach.
That sounds like, what do they call it? Sleep paralysis, okay? It gives you a heavy weight on the chest and on the stomach. That's what sleep paralysis does. All right. Now, that also happened to me before, too. And when that happened, I went through all the names in the book. All right. As soon as I said Jesus. Then I said Yeshua. No. But like immediately when I said Yeshua, it just released me. Right. I said Jesus. I said Yeshua. Basically in the same voice, in the same tone, in the same sentence, okay? Simultaneously. That's the word I'm looking for. I said it simultaneously and it let me go. It released me. And then I just kept saying, no, right? Listen. It's crazy because when you start exposing these things will start attacking you, trying to attack you. And if you don't have your armor on, baby, it will attack you, all right? It will definitely penetrate you. But, yeah, so an incubus came to me in my dreams, okay? Last night / this morning. Now, the crazy thing about it was I woke up to use the bathroom at about, maybe about 5 o'clock or something like that. And then I ended up dozing back off. And when I dozed back off, that's when it happened, all right? And it just happened so quickly. Like, it was crazy. As soon as I dozed back off, all of a sudden, this man was in my dream, okay? And he was sitting at the table. We were in a library or something. That's what it appeared to be. It was a library. So he appeared in the library, right? Or wherever I was studying that, I really believe it was a library. So he appeared in the library, sitting at the table or whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay, hi, how are you? So he started talking to me or whatever, right? We're just sitting there talking. And it was just weird because now that I released some things in my life, I'm starting to dream again. And I'm remembering my dreams, right? So I remember vividly, we started off at the table. Next thing you know, we ended up in a room, okay? He started, now we had a short conversation at the table. We were talking, and I think we were talking about, like, our majors or something, what I was studying and what he was studying. So, see, the demon was trying to get a feel of what I'm doing in my life, I guess. All right. So all of a sudden we ended up in a room, y'all. And it was crazy because I'm looking around like I was kind of puzzled because we went from the table all of a sudden to a room. And this man had his arm around me. He had his he had his arm around me and it's just landed on my shoulder, right? So he was like, so I was like, oh, I said, I didn't ask his name. I said, oh, okay. So what you want to sleep with me or something like that? Like, what you want to do? Like, why did you bring me in here or whatever, right? So they didn't say anything. So I started saying, who sent you? Who sent you? Where did you come from? Who sent you? And immediately when I said that, I had to use the bathroom again. Woke up out of my sleep and went to go pee. All right? Now, mind you, I told you I just got up to go pee before I laid back down and had that dream. But as soon as I asked that demon, who sent you? It couldn't tell me. It couldn't respond to me. The only thing that it could do is release me. Excuse me. I don't know why my earring keeps falling out my ear, but whatever. It couldn't do anything to me. It just released me. So this took me back to testing the spirit, right? We are supposed to always test the spirit. When a person comes into your life, I don't care how nice, how whatever, you test that spirit, you ask them who sent you, and they have to tell you, right? I'll never forget, I used to always ask my ex, yo, who sent you? Who sent you? And he used to say nothing. He wouldn't say nothing. It's like he got silent. He was, okay, so either they got to tell you who sent them or they won't tell you, they won't say anything at all, right? So he didn't say anything at all, right? My ex. I'm asking them. Real life asking them all the time, like, yo, who sent you? Because my life was just going, it was in shambles and I couldn't understand it because before I got with that person, my life was good. So I knew it was something going on and it was not of me. So I kept asking them, who sent you? Who sent you, right? And every time I asked him that, he wouldn't say anything. So finally, the last time I asked him, I said, you know what? It's funny how I always ask you who sent you and you can never tell me who sent you, right? So then he was like, oh, God sent. I said, oh, now God sent you. Which God do you serve? What God do you serve? What God sent you? Because you know they call their God, they're called they leader or whatever, the demon leader, they call it a God, right? So he like, oh God. I said, nah, because I asked you that too many times and you could never say nothing. And it seems like the only reason why you're saying something now is because I brought it to your attention that I noticed every time I ask you who sent you, you would say nothing. Now this time he's like, oh God sent me. Nah, God ain't sent you to destroy my life, baby. That's what demons do. Okay, that's what demons do. But at the end of the day, y'all, I'm telling y'all, it was just crazy to me because I think that's the ticket right there. You have to ask these demons who sent you. When they come into your dreams like that, when a man comes into your dreams, ask that demon who sent them, quote unquote, man or woman, because as you just heard, the incubus is the male version of the demon that comes in your sleep. And the succubus is the female version that comes to you in your sleep. And it's crazy because when you say incubus, I think of inky. You got to remember etymology. These words have a greater meaning than what we know. This is why we have to learn the etymology of these words. And then, therefore, you will know what that word really, really means. Okay? So, incubus, it just goes along, you know. So I woke up and I was like, wow. Me asking that demon who sent that demon made the demon release me. All right. And I remember one night I was laying down and I was dozing off, right? I was dozing and I could have swore I heard my son call my name. Mom, right? So I woke up and I tried to say, yes, huh? Nothing would come out. I noticed I had chills. All over my body I had chills. And I was trying to move and I couldn't move. And that's when I started saying, you know, oh my God, you know, I was like, no, Jesus, Yeshua, It just went away. And I was just like, oh my, no, no, no. After that, I was like, yo, did you call me? My voice, I heard it. I'm like, yo, did you call me? Yo, I'm calling my son. Did you call me? Yo, I got up. Okay, I was able to get up after that, after it released me. I was able to get up, went to go check on my son. He was asleep. Okay? But his voice, the Most High allowed me to hear my baby's voice, and it stopped me from falling deep into that sleep that I was about to fall in, because the demons was coming for me, y'all. They was coming. But by me hearing his voice, it kind of like woke me up out of my sleep, but I couldn't say or do anything until it released me. And once it released me, I got up to go check on my son to see, like, oh, did you just call me? Like, what did you, He was asleep. And all I could say was, Lord, oh my God, thank you. Thank you for waking me up. Thank you for letting me know what was going on. I mean, like, it's crazy because I didn't feel nothing. Now, normally that had happened to me like 2-3 times, okay? Ever since I've been with this dude, like I said, I've been getting these little crazy encounters. Before I got with him, I didn't get none of this, all right? This is why I say he was releasing his demons on me. And not only that, he was working with them demons that was attacking me, so he was helping them, okay? He was helping them, right? I'll never forget, there was another gentleman who came to me in my dreams that I met through him. We were at the, the Memorial Drive, right? At the Memorial Drive, there was a noose hanging. So this dude was protesting about the noose hanging from this pole at the Memorial Drive thingy. So we happened to be up there one day. If you guys remember, I was doing a video about the snow won't melt, right? The snow won't melt in Buffalo. And it was like May. Was it May? Like April, May, okay? And the snow was still there. It was like a pile of snow. If y'all remember, we had this real bad storm. I don't remember what year it was, but I'm going to go back into my archives and find this video. We had a real bad snowstorm, okay? And they took the snow from all these other outer cities. Okay, so like Cheektowaga, Lockport, and whatever. So they brought their snow to our city and piled it at the Memorial Drive. So it was like a big mountain of nasty, dirty snow. It had all type of filthy, like it had all type of garbage in it. It even had a garbage can, okay? It had all type of garbage in this snow or whatever. So I went over there and I did a video. I'm like, yo, the snow won't melt in Buffalo. This is when we was talking about the snow not being real or whatever. And I'm like, it's hot outside. This snow should be gone, right? But it was barely melting, okay? And then shortly after that, there was a video that some news forecaster did after my video explaining why the snow wouldn't melt. I said, wow, ain't that something? Isn't that something, right? So what they would do was every time I would make a video, they would always have somebody come behind me to kind of like debunk what I was saying, right? So, anywho, we were there and this gentleman, man or whatever, was out there, protesting about the noose that was up there, and he wanted to get the noose down, right? Now, mind you, this is a person that I used to always see when I was a child, younger. Right? And it's like he never aged. This man never aged. And y'all know who I'm talking about. He's a lawyer. He worked for a black guy. The only black guy who worked, if y'all from Buffalo, y'all know that there was this black guy who was a quote unquote lawyer, a young guy. Seemed like he was young, but like I said, to me it looked like he never aged not one bit. Not one bit. And I used to always be skeptical about this dude. I swear to you, because ever since I was younger, I used to see this dude in the projects. And I'm telling you, from the time I saw him in the projects to the time I saw him at that freaking Memorial Drive, he looked the same. Did not age not one bit. Not a piece of gray hair on his head. None of that, right? So I was like, okay, I remember him from such and such and such and such. Now, when I tell y'all, that was the first encounter with that man. That was the first encounter that I had with a quote-unquote incubus, right? That man came to me in my dreams and tried to sleep with me. And I almost did. Y'all, because when he whipped it, I didn't understand what was going on, right? So I'm just being seduced in my freaking dreams, okay? But when he whipped it out, it was just humongous. It was so big. And I was like, oh, oh, hell no, you ain't putting that in me. You ain't putting that in me. And he was just trying to convince me that it was okay. He wasn't going to hurt me. I'm like, oh, hell no. You ain't going to put that in me. Oh, hell no. And I said something like, Lord Jesus. Like, poof, he was gone. He was gone, right? So now, bam, after that, I haven't seen him in a very, very long time, right? Ain't seen him in a long time. And one day I saw him at the freaking bus stop, right? I'm driving by. I'm riding down Fillmore, okay? He was at the bus stop on, what is that? Is that Fillmore in Genesee? He was at the bus stop in Fillmore in Genesee, right? So I'm riding down Fillmore, and I'm almost at Humboldt. I'll never forget this day. I'm almost at Humboldt, and I see him at the bus stop, and I'm like, that's that dude. So, y'all, when I tell y'all, I was about to approach him. I swear to y'all, I was about to approach him. On some, I don't know what I was going to say, how I was going to ask him, but I was about to approach him. So when I spent the block, I didn't even go all the way around the corner. I turned down the block and I bust a U-turn so I could come back. Don't y'all know, by the time I got back, that man was gone. The bus had just pulled up and he was gone. He had got on the bus or whatever, but he was gone. I said, oh, wow. It felt like a fucking movie. It felt like I was in a real life movie. I'm pretty sure y'all saw scenes like that where, you know, you recognize somebody and then they recognize somebody or whatever in the movie, and then they go back to talk to that person or whatever, or to just analyze the situation, and then boom, the person is gone. Demons, okay? You can't tell me that man ain't no demon. He came in my dreams, okay? He came in my dreams trying to sleep with me. And that was his friend. Okay, that was the first encounter that I had. The second encounter was Darius Bridgen. Okay, came in my dreams, tried to sleep with me. And I was like, don't you know my man is in the other room? And, how dare you, disrespectful. I was just going off on him, going off, okay? So then, poof, I didn't even have to rebuke him. I guess by me yelling at him and rebuking him, basically just being in my house, knowing that my man was in the next room, poof, he was gone. The third time, they tried to get me on City Hall's doorstep, okay? City Hall's, like, doorstep. The stairway, you know how they got, you go up to City Hall, all those stairs, and then the door is right there, and then boom, you got this little landing right there. Listen, I don't know how I ended up on this landing, but I was on this landing, right? It was Byron. I don't think Pridgeon was there. It was Byron. It was Oswaldo. It was, the other tall, light-skinned dude who worked for the city planning. He used to when Byron was in office. I can't think of his name right now. But it was like 3 or 4 of them. It might have been Diggs, too. It was like 3 or 4 of them, y'all. They were really trying to, like, snatch me up off the... Yo, I started pushing them down the stairs. I'm pushing them. I'm punching them. I'm just going crazy. Yo, I'm pushing niggas down the stairs, okay? I started wilding out in my dreams. Because now, mind you, this is the 3rd time. By that time, this is the 3rd time that I done got seduced in my dreams. So, at this time now, I'm learning what's going on. All right? Learning about these things coming into your dreams, trying to have sex with you. And if you had sex with these people, like they was trying to run a train on me that day. They was trying to run a train on me. They was going to rape me, y'all. That's what they was going to do. They was going to rape me and disgrace me. All right. And I fought hard. I'm throwing niggas downstairs. I'm pushing them down the stairs one by one. I'm going crazy. I promise you, I remember this dream like it was yesterday. Listen. Whoo. Thank goodness that I have an army that I've never seen, okay? I have an army that I've never seen, and I really believe that. Can't nobody convince me that I don't. Because if I didn't, these demons would have got me a long, long time ago, all right? They would have got me a long time ago, and this thing came to in my dreams last night trying to get me, I promise you. And if it wasn't for me saying what I said, I believe, I just kept asking them, who sent you? Who sent you? Okay? Where you come from? Who sent you? And as soon as I said that, instantly I had to pee and I woke up, right? So it wasn't even like, poof, he was gone in my dreams. No, me having to use the bathroom was what woke me up and ended the dream. And, you know, I had to get up and use the bathroom. It was just crazy to me. I'm like, wow. So I told myself, that I had to share that with y'all. I had to share that with y'all. Y'all have to know what an incubus is. You got to know what a succubus is. And you have to know that we cannot sleep with these things when they come into our dreams, all right? Wet dreams, men, be careful of that. That is a succubus coming to you in your dreams. And when you ejaculate, when you give off an erection, okay, they're using that sperm. They're using that sperm and they're taking it back to their little marine land. I don't know, marine kingdom or whatever. I don't know where they come from. I don't know. I'm really, it's another realm or something. I don't know. But they're taking it back and they are using that sperm to impregnate those women and I believe it's the marine kingdom, because they can't have children or something like that from what I learned. They can't have children like naturally. So they have to use the sperm of the man to impregnate one of them or something like that, and then they can have an offspring. But other than that, the male from the marine kingdom cannot impregnate the woman from the marine kingdom. An actual human has to do that, from what I learned, to my knowledge. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm still learning this stuff. I'm studying, and it's crazy, y'all. It's crazy. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. I was just talking about it yesterday. And then all of a sudden that happens to me, and it's basically, it's a nightmare. It's definitely a nightmare. But let's see. Okay. It comes from medieval times. Okay. And it's let me see. So I want to give you succubus now. I was just blown away, guys. I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, whoa. And my phone been acting so crazy because they know that I like to have Google read it to you, so I don't got to read it. And this joint just been acting real crazy lately because, yeah. So, I'm about to get some new devices around here. That's what I'm going to have to do. But, yeah, at the end of the day, y'all, just know that please don't sleep with those, don't sleep with nobody that comes to you in your dreams. That is like a fantasy world. They're trying to fulfill a fantasy that you may be having. You might be lusting somebody. It could be anything, y'all. But I'm telling y'all, please do not sleep with those people, because they will definitely. Let's see what this says.
Succubus. Published by Britannica. Incubus. Demon in male form that seeks to have sexual intercourse with sleeping women. The corresponding spirit in female form is called a succubus. In medieval Europe, union with an incubus was supposed by some to result in the birth of witches, demons, and deformed human offspring.
See?
The legendary magician Merlin was said to have been...
The legendary magician Merlin was said to have been conceived by... incubus or succubus, y'all. I can't make this up.
Merlin.
Listen.
Published by Britannica.
Listen.
Merlin, enchanter and wise man in Arthurian legend and romance of the Middle Ages, linked with personages in ancient Celtic mythology, especially with Merlin in Welsh tradition. He appeared in Arthurian legend as an enigmatic figure, fluctuations and inconsistencies in his character being often dictated by the requirements of a particular narrative or by varying attitudes of suspicious regard toward magic and witchcraft. Thus, treatments of Merlin reflect different stages in the development of Arthurian romance itself. Geoffrey of Monmouth, in Historia Regum Britanniae, 1135-38, adapted a story, told by the Welsh antiquary Nennius, flourished circa 800, of a boy, Ambrosius, who had given advice to the legendary British king Vortigern. In Geoffrey's account, Merlin Ambrosius figured as advisor to Uther Pendragon, King Arthur's father, and afterward to Arthur himself. In a later work, Vita Merlini, Geoffrey further developed the story of Merlin by adapting a northern legend about a wild man of the woods, gifted with powers of divination. Early in the 13th century, Robert de Boring's verse romance Merlin added a Christian dimension to the character, making him the prophet of the Holy Grail, whose legend had by then been linked with Arthurian legend. The author of the first part of the Vulgate cycle made the demonic side of Merlin's character predominant, but in later branches of the Vulgate cycle, Merlin again became the prophet of the Holy Grail, while his role as Arthur's counselor was filled out. It was Merlin, for example, who advised Uther to establish the knightly fellowship of the Round Table and who suggested that Uther's true heir would be revealed by a test that involved drawing a sword from a stone in which it was set. It also included a story of the wizard's infatuation with the Lady of the Lake, which eventually brought about his death. Round Table.
With the lady
Round Table, in Arthurian legend, the Table of Arthur, Britain's legendary king, which was first mentioned in Wace of Jersey's Roman de Brute, 1155. This told of King Arthur's having a round table made so that none of his barons, when seated at it, could claim precedence over the others. The literary importance of the Round Table, especially in romances of the 13th century and afterward, lies in the fact that it served to provide the knights of Arthur's court with a name and a collective personality.
Listen.
The Fellowship of the Round Table, in fact, became comparable to, and in many respects the prototype of, the many great orders of chivalry that were founded in Europe during the later Middle Ages.
Chivalry.
By the late 15th century, when Sir Thomas Malory wrote his La Morte d'Arthur, the notion of chivalry was inseparable from that of a great military brotherhood established in the household of some great prince. In Robert de Moran's poem Joseph d'Arimathie, circa 1200, the Grail, which had been sought by the hero Percival, was identified as the vessel used by Christ at the Last Supper. Joseph was commanded to make a table in commemoration of the Last Supper and to leave one place vacant, symbolizing the seat of Judas, who had betrayed Christ.
Wow.
This empty place, called the Siege Perilous, could not be occupied without peril except by the destined Grail hero. During the 13th century, when the Grail theme was fully integrated with Arthurian legend in the group of prose romances known as the Vulgate Cycle and post-Vulgate romances, it was established that the Round Table, modeled on the Grail table and, likewise, with an empty place, had been made by the counselor Merlin for Uther Pendragon, King Arthur's father. It came into the possession of King Leodegran of Carmelide, who gave it to Arthur as part of the dowry of his daughter Guinevere when she married Arthur. Admission to the Fellowship of the Round Table was reserved for only the most valiant, while the Siege Perilous was left waiting for the coming of Galahad, the pure knight who achieved the quest of the Grail and who brought the marvels of Arthur's kingdom to a close.
I remember reading about that story. It's King Arthur and Queen Guinevere. Okay? Listen, y'all. This shit gets deep. It gets deep. All right? And, like, what are they trying to... Like, I don't even want to insinuate nothing, but like I told y'all yesterday, the story of Mary and the way she conceived her conception of Jesus reminds me of an incubus coming to her in her dreams, sleeping with her, and impregnating her. IJS, I'm just saying, I'm not being disrespectful or anything. I'm just going by what, you got to use your common sense, right? You're hearing all these stories about X, Y, and Z, okay? Then you got to just like put two and two together, okay? So that's basically what I'm doing. This is crazy, y'all. I just had to come here and let y'all know what happened and get y'all on point with this Incubus and this Succubus thing, because that's one of the videos that they did take down of mine. All right? This ain't no game. This is not a game. All right? We cannot fight spiritual wars with physical weapons. We just can't do it. It's not possible. It's not possible. We can't do it. Right? So I need y'all to put y'all armor on. I need y'all to put y'all armor on. All of my knowers. Not just my believers, okay? Because you got to know what you know. And what you know can't nobody take away from you. That's like with your education. When you go and get that education, that's knowledge that you know that no one can take away from you. All right? Now, what they're trying to do is give us dementia and Alzheimer's. That is one way to wipe out our memory. That is a way, a tool that they are using to wipe out our memory, because you have to remember they do not want this knowledge to go from generation to generation. So this is why the elders end up with dementia and Alzheimer's at a certain age, so that they can't spread the knowledge. So this is why we have to ask questions while they are in their right sound mind, right? We have to ask questions. And I'm so glad I did that with my Aunt Nana. I asked her before she passed away, right? We just sit on the porch having a conversation, and I asked her, like, what's the name of our tribe? Like, what is, what I'm saying? Like, where we're originally from, and, our ancestors. Teach me a little bit about our history. So she did. She did. Okay? She taught me. She told me. And I was able to go research this tribe, right? And only to discover that this is where they get the word Hitachi from. The televisions, the electrical components, the televisions. Hitachi, from the Hittite tribe, the Hittite tribe, okay? This is where they get the word Hitachi from. So what they do is also they will name something else that name. So when you go Google that name, something else will come up and not the original thing or the original people or person won't come up, right? Or they'll whitewash it, right? They'll give you a white tribe. But from what I learned, my tribe did not involve themselves or include themselves with the 5 civilized tribes, okay? They were against it. And as a matter of fact, they went neutral. So this is why they erased them from history. So when you go and Google my tribe's name, you won't get too much on them. You know that they're from Macon, Georgia. Macon, Georgia is the area that they were from, right? And there's actually something called the Hitchiti Forest. It's where they're doing experiments, right? So what they're doing is they are studying the land. They're studying the plants. They're studying the animals, because it's a forest that they confiscated, and it's called the Hitchiti Forest in Macon, Georgia. Look it up. I can't make this up. Okay? And they're studying the tribes' ways of living, the trees, the flowers, the grass, and things like that, because they're trying to figure out how are they surviving, where are they getting their powers from, how do they operate, basically. Now you have to remember, at that time, it wasn't the patriarchal system, it was the matriarchal system. And in the tribes, the property and everything belonged to the woman. This is why the man wanted to marry her, the white man especially, wanted to marry the native, because once they married her, they now get a portion of her tribe. And this is why they was given the Ojibways? They were giving them diabetes, killing them off so that they can take their land because of the oil, right? I'm like, wow, this history, it really runs deep. So it's important that you ask your grandparents and parents and things like that questions. And there may be some things that they may not want to talk about, because a lot of times they want to forget what happened. They want to forget what happened. But guess what? When you don't know your history, it is bound to be repeated. It is bound to be repeated. Because I really believe that a succubus is what lured my great-grandfather in. Okay? Remember I told y'all it's a story about that. It is a story behind that, right? And I believe that it is a succubus that lured him in. And this is how he fell from grace. And in return, his whole entire family after him, listen, baby, no one really went too far after my great-grandfather fell. It was just chaos in our family. Chaos in our family. Womanizers, okay? Rapists, abusers, users, drug users. Like, it was just, yeah. You go do the history of my family and you look back. I think I got like a cousin that's in construction now or something like that. When he went to jail, he became a deacon or something like that. But he doesn't have a church. He doesn't have a church. And then when I went and did, I don't know what made me look up Mount Olive. I was just wanted to, kind of get a feel of what was going on in my church right now, because I'm not there. I'm always going to be a member, but I'm not an active member, right? So this is how I found out Prison was dead. I didn't even know he died in 2022. I just happened to be thinking about, church songs. I promise y'all, I love that. I'm telling y'all, I love the choir. I love that part of church. That was my favorite part, right? So I wanted to hear some church songs. So I'm like, let me go to my church and see what they doing. They online and la 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 la. Yeah, it was like, I felt so bad, especially for the youth choir. Our youth choir was lit. And yes, I was in the choir. Our youth choir was lit. Shout out to Deborah. Was it Deborah Cox? I remember her name was Deborah, and she was our the instructor for the choir director. Oh, excuse me, guys. She was the director, y'all. And when I tell you she had us lit, she making sure we bobbing, we clapping, we singing, and we could really sing. She had us harmonizing, all that. So then when I go to no disrespect to nobody, but I really felt bad because the children was waving sweaters. One little boy was waving a sweater in the air. Nobody was really paying no attention. The harmony was off. They wasn't clapping. They wasn't swaying side to side. It wasn't none of that. I'm like, wow, if I was really going to church, to that church now, I would fall asleep during the choir session. Okay? And I listened to the other choirs, the elderly choir. I listened to the youth choir. And then it was the, I don't know if it was the ushers who was also. It was just sad, y'all. It was really, really sad. And I'm like, wow. You know what I'm saying? I just couldn't believe it. Okay, couldn't believe it. Church is not what it used to be when I was a child. It's not. Because you got too many flamboyants in the church. Pridgeon just shows you that. He has so many flamboyants in the church. I'll never forget when them gay boys ran up in that church, and he didn't press charges against them either. They say the gay boys who ran up in the church was just making a statement. Letting us know that I can expose you any given time, okay? And there's nothing that you can do. He didn't even press charges against them. He did not press charges. He had them on camera. They was running through the church. They broke in. And how you break in the church with an alarm? Nah. One of them boys had a key and the code. Because there's no way that they broke into a church with an alarm and they didn't get caught. They ran through the church doing whatever. All right? And all he's saying is just, what do you say? Come forth and I won't press charges against you. I just want to... What you want them to come forth for it? And if you're not going to press charges on them, it didn't make sense. But like I said, after a while, I put 2 and 2 together. All right. And then my cousin told me, and I don't even want to go off of hearsay, but like, I know for a fact there was some funny stuff going on. Now, my little cousin telling me that the man is supplying the hood with dope. I'm like, what? He doing the housing schemes. He's supplying the hood with dope. That Subway that he opened up. Yeah, he stopped selling the Subway food after the big scandal came out about the bread being made with the floor mats. Y'all remember that? Yeah. Okay. Had his little daughter's best friend who he married running the shop. Okay. She had all her friends working in there. Whew. And I heard they're not even together anymore because maybe she came to her senses. All right. The man was using her as a cover-up because his real love is the one that's running that church out there in Niagara Falls. The one he's supposed to have adopted. Yeah. Y'all remember him? What's it, Craig? He's Craig Pridgeon now, but I believe before that he was Craig White, right? Something like that. Because, yeah, he's related to the Wright family who went to my church. The Whites. Eric White, who got killed, stabbed in the neck at, what bar was that? The After Hour joint. Okay? It's his cousin. Right? So originally, his name was not Pridgeon, as you all know, because Pridgeon adopted him after the age of 18. And I didn't even think that was possible. You can adopt someone after the age. What you got to adopt somebody for after the age of 18? It doesn't make sense. They're grown. How are you adopting an adult? Okay? So from what Eric White's baby mother said, Trina, who was now Katrina Bordeaux, who was, what was her name before that? Katrina Martin. Okay. Now, this is Eric Wright's baby mother, right? So now she tells us that, they got married on the low and covered it up and said it was an adoption just to cover up for the quote unquote marriage, right? But come on now, if y'all go look at Craig's photos, right? Him and his wife broke up too, and she became a judge who, Pridgeon, or it's just a lot of going on, y'all. It was too much. That's why I just had to walk away from it. I had to walk away. It was too much. I was fighting a fight that I shouldn't have had to fight, right? I'm fighting for a job. If y'all know, I did a video. I walked on a job site. Where I forced these people to hire me for $50 an hour. After I got out of construction school, okay? I had went for asbestos abatement, couldn't find a job, and my peoples told me this job was hiring up the street, and they had shit wrapped around that gate. You couldn't even see past it, right? It was like a covering around the gate, right? And it was always locked. Because I tried to go solicit the job before, but I could never get in because it was locked. So I went to a meeting at my school. Uncle told me what was going on. On my way home, God said, go get your hard hat, your steel toes, and your camera and go up to that job, y'all. When I got up there, that's why you got to listen to God's voice, too. You got to listen to that voice in your head, the positive voice. I got up there, the gate was open. That gate will never be open. The gate is never open. This is why I say the Most High will fight your battles for you, all right? All you have to do is just ask. Ask, please, y'all. Ask. Seek and ye shall find, ask and ye shall receive. And you got to remember that greater is thee that is in me than thee that is in the world. It is very important that you know that. Because that's how you're going to survive out here. All right? That's how we're going to survive. Knowing that you are greater. Didn't Jesus say in the Bible that you are capable of doing greater things than me? You are more powerful than I. But you just don't know it. Yeah. Go back to your Bible. Stop letting people recite the Bible to you and go read it for yourself. Because that's what I had to do. Even though I was listening subconsciously in church, but I had to go back to the book. I had to go back to those scriptures because the power is in the word. And this is why when I said what I said in my dream, the demon had to disperse, because the power is in the word. You have to know what to say, though. This is why the Most High also says, test the spirit, test every spirit, and trust no one. Trust no one, and test every spirit that comes into your life. You ask them, who sent you? Who sent you? They'll have to tell you. And if they get silent and don't tell you nothing, see, silence is golden. Remember that too. That means that it wasn't God, because if God sent them, the Most High sent them, the Almighty, Mother and Father, if they sent them, they would have no problem telling you that. But when a person gets silent after you ask them who sent them, you automatically know who sent them, and you got to do what you got to do after that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, guys, I just had to come to y'all today to let y'all know exactly what happened, because it's so crazy that it just like happened to me after I spoke about it yesterday, after I did that video. Listen, I can't make this stuff up. I cannot make this stuff up. And like I said, I really believe that I know for a fact that my mother and father allowed me to go through this situation and survive it so that I can be a spokesperson. Okay? To let you guys know that, listen, the Most High is real. The Almighty is real. The Mother and Father is real. All right? Is real. And as you know, it also says in the Bible that they were supposed to call him Jesus and we were supposed to call him Emmanuel. And that means God is amongst you. God is in you. Yeah, all around you, baby. We just got to tap into it. Tap into that energy. These people tapping into that demonic energy. Everybody want to walk around here calling themselves the GOAT. Yeah, everybody want to walk around here calling themselves the GOAT. Yeah. So guess what? I'm a goddess. I'm a goddess. I'm an empress. Yeah. I'm a priestess. Yeah. Yeah. Speaking into existence. Because listen, they got their demons helping them. They got their demons fighting for them. So you better let somebody fight for you. Don't be out here fighting these battles on your own. First of all, you don't got to fight them at all. Right? But stop trying to fight a spiritual battle with physical weapons. Let the Most High fight for you. He said, lay your burdens down, baby, and I will fight these battles for you. And that's exactly what the Most High has been doing. Like, listen, no weapon formed against you shall prosper, right? But key word is formed against you. So the weapons will be formed, but they will not prosper. So that means you will get put under attack at a certain point in time. But it will not penetrate you to the point where it will kill you. You have to remember that, what they say, you will not get more put on you than what you can bear. So obviously I was able to bear this, and this is why they put this on me, because this family has some real deep, dark secrets, right? Things that they would have gotten away with if it wasn't for me enduring what I endured to get the information that I needed to make sure that this family, faces the consequences of their actions. Okay? So listen, y'all. Just remember, greater is thee that is in thee than thee that is in the world. You got to remember, in the Bible, it speaks of thy, and, there was never no you and no why and no I, except for I am that I am. When they asked, what was your name? He said, I am that I am. And you are that too. Okay? But you got to speak it into existence. Right? On that note, whoo! Wake up, wake up, wake up, y'all. Y'all remember the bells that we used to hear every day at noon and at midnight? Why they don't ring those bells no more? They say those bells was to ward the demons away. Now, as you remember, it was a big old thing about them taking all those bells down. They cracked them. They broke them. They made sure that those bells did not have that same frequency. Okay? Even if you did try to still ring those bells, by them putting that split or that crack, if you go look, just do the history on the bells, you will see that a lot of those bells, they put a crack in the bells. There's a big old crack going down the bells. So now it disrupts the frequency, the natural frequency. But if you remember the Spider-Man movie, when he had all that black goo all over him, when the bell started ringing, what happened? The goo started falling off. The goo started falling off. So this is why they got rid of those bells, because they knew that that frequency warded those demons away. And now that those bells are not ringing anymore, this is why those demons is reigning through our freaking world like never before. Because there's nothing that's being, there's no frequency that is being, sounded off to make them go away. Now, what you're hearing is the purge bells. A lot of cities that I visit, every month around a certain time, you'll hear that purge alarm. You don't hear the bells anymore. You hear the purge alarm, right? And so the cathedrals, all the cathedrals had the bells, and the cathedrals represent Sophia. Sophia represents Mary Magdalene, Tiamat, and yeah. So they got rid of those, all right, for a reason. So now we got to ring our own bells. Wake up, wake up, wake up. I am your host, Chantel, better known as Miss Recycle, and you are officially on the Wake Up and Smell the Coffee show, y'all. Woo! Infinity TV. Can't nobody tell me. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Tell me nothing. Now, when it comes to this, can't nobody tell me nothing, okay? Because experience is the best teacher. You guys have to know that. So this is why, you're going to have to go through some things in order for you to really know some things, right? But a lot of times the Most High sends people to you to warn you, so that if you do have to go through it, at least you can go back and say, ooh, I heard such and such say that. Such and such said that happened to them. And then, whatever, I'm giving you tips on what to do when things like that happen. But please, 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 no matter what, please do not sleep with these. I don't care how horny you is. You got to learn how to control your hormones, y'all. Because a lot of times they will come to you when you're down and out, when you're in need of something, when your hormones is just going haywire, okay? They will come to you at that time because you're vulnerable and they feel like you will give in. So I'm asking y'all, please don't do that, right? Please don't do that. And no matter what, know that the Most High will not put any more on you than what you can bear, all right? On that note, I'm out. Peace.